Well, my friends, we are back. We are back. We are back with part two of the reunion. I am reviewing and watching at the same time, but we actually picked up where we left off. So I'm not going to start with too much talk. I'll just greet you all. It's your girl JoJo. You know what we're here for, the Ready to Love, season 10, part two of the reunion. I hope you guys are doing good today. I am doing well. Let's dive in. Rose. Rosie's revenge. Rose. All right. Before I get into this part, I'm going to go ahead and get one thing out the way because I already know it's going to come up. But what about Cam? What about the men? What about the... First of all, if you've been on this channel long enough, you know I don't play with these men. That's number one. But number two, I would like to say I think Cam is full of shit. Okay? I hate to start out cussing, but I think Kim is full of it. I think he is one of those guys who... I don't feel like Cam got a lot of attention when he was younger. He was probably scrawny. He was probably a little bit maybe of a nerd. No offense on nerds, so was I. So he probably was just one of those guys that like the girls, they was cool with, but in a non-threatening way. They didn't see him as charming, funny, cute. You know, they may not have been on him like that, right? But once he got a little muscle on him in college... And he had already had that good, pretty skin. So he already had that going for him. He got a little mousse glaze on him. Started getting some protein. Got to college. Started getting a little bit of play. I don't know if he pledged or not. If he did, started getting a little bit more play. Then said, you know what? I'm going to be a firefighter. And then started getting even more play. Because you know how the ladies get about a man in uniform. That's very... masculine to some of the women. I'm in the military, so I already know that uniform don't mean a damn thing if the man ain't behind it. So I'll go ahead and get that out the way. I think Kim is full of it. All right, now that I got Kim out the way, kind of, I want to talk about Rose. Now, remember when I told y'all in a separate episode shortly before she got eliminated, at first I held my opinion on her. Then I said that I felt like Rose was saying whatever to just kind of blend in and be the woman that the men wanted her to be. When they showed her flashback, they showed Rose saying, "Ooh, I love a man in uniform" to Cam. And then when Hussein said he does some type of design, she was like, I always have loved interior design. I'm just like, while you can be a woman of many interests and like many different types of men, it was always like, oh my gosh, you are perfect, that you fit right into my life. Cam, and this is another reason I started to side at her. Cam doesn't have any of the spiritual beliefs that she practices. She is a Christian. She seems to be quite religious in that manner, like not just a Christian in I pray, but I don't really do nothing else. Like for real, she seems to be in it, or seems to be, and knew that Cam was not, knew that he was more spiritual. And listen, a lot of times, y'all, when men say spiritual, it does not mean they have an altar set up or, they talk to Oshun and them. It usually means that they just don't go to church no more, but they still pray. That men don't know what spiritual means. A lot of men don't know what spiritual means. Some do, but a lot do not. So anyway, they don't have a spiritual practice. They don't know what that means. So she knew that he did not align with kind of like the man God has for me type of deal, but she was still going with it. And that's what made me realize, okay, Rose is just doing whatever's clever to have a man. She's doing whatever's clever to have a man. And when it doesn't turn out the way she wants, she's going to be very disappointed. I know it well. What I did not know, that Rose was going to start giving unhinged. Now, is she valid for being irritated with Cam? Yes, I do think Cam is a game player. But I also think Rose is way too pressed over a man that she was not seriously dating. She had, if you got to go through the phones, you already know what it is. And you saved all of this for the reunion. So it's given a little bit unhinged. You didn't say this while you was there at his house. Like, hey, who was the girl in your phone? I saw the girl in your phone with a pregnancy test. This, and that. You held on to all this information. And you was playing cool with him, seemed like. Based on the, I don't know when exactly y'all dated, but you had to be playing cool at some point. only to bring all of this out of the reunion. And it don't make you look like, yeah, I got you because you was playing games. It really don't make you look good, Rose. It don't make you look good. I hate when y'all make me take, I'm not, you know what? I ain't taking nobody's side. But you don't look good. And I'm glad Hussein not saying much, because what is there to say, right? And not that she blasted Hussein like that, but I'm glad Hussein isn't really even giving any extra commentary. Cam, baby, you need to get a little bit tighter on your game. How you gonna have a woman at your house fall asleep with the phone open? And then on top of that, you asking her to help you move, but also asking other women on dates. That's another thing, Rose. What you was doing, giving your cookie up to men who wasn't taking you out, at the very least. What you was doing, giving it up to men who don't even align with your beliefs or your values. Cam don't align with what you want to do. What was the dating time period between Cam and Hussein anyway? Because I got to give... guys, y'all know I'm terrible with names, but somebody in my comments was like, I believe she gave it to both Cam and Hussein, and I was like, no, it couldn't be. And you was right. I know not to question no man about no other man. I should believe you immediately. You was right, boo. You was right. He gave it to both of them. Sorry, y'all. Somebody was getting impatient. They wasn't blowing at me, but child. Yeah, I would like to know the time frames, but it don't even matter, because now don't either one of them want to deal with you like that. And you thought you was going to come in there and be like, aha, I got all y'all. And all it did was make you look crazy. It's unfortunate, Rosie. Okay. And the funniest thing about all of this is the fact that Cam did all that talking about, I don't want a woman that's not in control of her emotions. You did all that talking about Angie, only to actually be sleeping with the one who is not is not in control of her emotions. And I want y'all to understand, I understand being hurt. I understand feeling played. I understand all of that. But if you are a woman that tries to kowtow to only what men want and be what men want you to be, it would be different if this is exactly who she was. I do think she's a lover girl. I do think she's soft and all of that. But she was doing too much to try to get these men, and that's why she's so disappointed. I used to be the same way. Now, I didn't display this much of that behavior, but I really did feel like if I do all the things and I'm the type of girl that men say they want, they're going to choose me. When they did not, I felt like going on a rampage, because I'm like, I'm the one. I'm not like the rest of these girls that talk to you crazy. You should pick me. Now I talk to men crazy and they won't leave me alone, so... Trauma, perhaps? I don't know. I don't know the answers, ladies. I don't know. Okay, y'all. It was J-Dub that said, it's J-Dub that said that Rose had probably had sex with both of them. He has his own channel. I don't think he reviews the show anymore, though. But, yes, y'all. It was him. Oh, Lord, y'all. Anyway. Okay, so all of that to say... Her and Cam not dealing with each other no more. At some point, she was dealing with Cam and sleeping with him. At some point, she was dealing with Hussein and sleeping with him. She's not with neither one of them at this point. It sounds like to me she was dealing with Cam at first and sleeping with him, because that is why he was irritated when they shared a room at the thingamajig. And maybe after, I don't know, child. Let me not try to figure out the timeline of her coochie. I'm not clocking, okay? Or they peens. Cam said him and his ex are still friends, but nobody is pregnant. I don't believe nothing Cam said. That lady probably did have a pregnancy scare. Him and his ex probably is still messing around, because Cam is just giving that kind of energy at this point. Sahara, you better stay away from that man now that you know who he is. I better not find out y'all dealing with each other. Anyways, we go to Eddie's segment. It wasn't too much, y'all. Eddie is not nobody, but you know what I mean? Like, he's very lighthearted. He says that he don't know why the women thought he was playing games like that, because he was serious. And Angie even said when it was time to step it up, he did step it up, but it wasn't enough in the grand scheme of things. But at some point, he did make her cry. I don't know what he did. What did he do, Angie? Was it with words? Anyway, then we get to what you call it. What is her name, y'all? Zoe? Chloe? This girl right here. I don't care to remember her name. How many champagnes did she have in the bag? Because she was up there winking at Eddie and saying, I'm sorry. Because remember, she tried to kiss him and he was like, My other two connections might see this. And he was like, ours was really just physical. So I ain't really want to disappoint Deanna or Angie like that because we had something a little bit more. I'm going to tell you one thing. Eddie ain't got no type, do he? Because he was like, I love them all. And she was just like, and I'm sorry that you felt uncomfortable. I adore him. But she said she wouldn't deal with him or nothing like that because she don't do second chances. I can't tell. Look like you could second chance tonight. So we move on to Kiara and Jay, and I must say, I was surprised that these two are no longer together. Kiara is now with another man. No, my man, just my man. Y'all know how bad it got on my nerves. But the reason why they aren't together anymore is because Kiara says that when the show was done, he said he kind of needed a week to regroup, get his mind right. They had been on camera. They had been filming this whole time. They've been dating this whole time. They had been consumed with each other this whole time. He needed a week. She understood that, but she was under the impression that once that week was up, we would go back to courting. We would go back to dating. And that is not the impression that Jay had. Jay actually tells her he need a month to recalibrate. And she was just like, no, sir. Now, a week, okay. 1 month, I'm not doing. Then they kind of get into a little back and forth where Jay says, your idea of courting, your idea of dating is us going out to eat every day. And I'm not really trying to do all of that. And Tommy was just like, well, I'm an in-house person as well. But my wife, I know I got to take my wife out. Jay says he got more in the process from them just kind of laying up and getting to know each other and hearing each other's dreams and all that other stuff than he would from taking her out to eat all the time. Now, I don't know if Kiara expects to go out to eat every day. If she does, that's not realistic. However, expecting to go out once a week, I don't think is unrealistic. Expecting to not lay up all the time, I don't think that's not realistic. Now, I don't know what was going on in the process, but I always tell my homegirls, start how you want to finish. So if you start out laying up, he gonna be used to you laying up. If you start out saying this is kind of what I expect, then he'll be used to that, or he'll be on his way, either one. But I felt like Jay kind of knew what Kiara was coming with, because he said he liked that she was bougie and liked that she was spoiled. So you think she just spoiled herself? No, she probably expects you to do those same things as well. Most women who spoil themselves also want you to not necessarily do exactly what they would do, but to try to keep up with, you get what I'm saying? Like to keep up with the things that they would like to do for themselves. If not, then you can go ahead and go on about your business. And Jay presented himself as a man who liked to take care of a woman, liked to, pay the bills, liked to, you know what I'm saying? Like, he kind of presented himself a certain way. So if you're going to present yourself that way, that's probably what the ladies are going to expect. To say you just like laying up is crazy. It's crazy. I like to be in the house. And you couldn't meet her in the middle nowhere with that. Kiara went on by her business. She got herself another man. The man in the back asked Jay, you good, man? You straight? He was like, am I good? What? You know how many women I got in this phone? Well, call them then. Call them. If you had all them women, you shouldn't have came on the show no way. What did y'all think? Were y'all surprised they weren't together? I was. Y'all, I've lost my voice. Now, I done picked back up with doing this review. I went to see Uncle Charlie last night. Oh, my God, I had a time. And let me tell you, if you going, the show starts on time. Okay? Do not be late. You gonna be out of there before 11 p.m. And I was running late, and I had done missed the act. So I was really upset about that part. But it's okay. I got to see my Uncle Charlie, and of course I got to see Babyface, which was phenomenal. But I had already seen Babyface at Roots Picnic, but I had a much better time seeing him at this than I did at Roots Picnic. The sound, don't get me started on Roots Picnic and they Fool-La-La this past year. I'm going back though. I'm going back because it is hands down one of the best festivals there is to go to. But last year was terrible. But they gave people their money back. So I got to give them their props for that. Anyway, back to this. Are y'all surprised these two aren't together? What was Jay thinking? You know what? I was about to say something mean. Let's just move on. Don't do it again. Don't do it again, Deanna. I'm not playing. This wig does not look good on you. You're a beautiful girl. This wig don't look good on you. I think we all thought Deanna was going to end up being a fan favorite of ours, and we were disappointed when she wasn't. But we get her on stage to talk about her relationships with who? Oh, it was a couple people interested. I forgot about Khalil. Y'all remember how she obliterated Cam, so he wasn't interested. Eddie, I think, was on stage as well. And Hussein, they started talking about how there was a misunderstanding between her and Hussein, where Hussein was basically just like, you should have the time in your day to pick up the phone. If you really care about somebody, there should be some time involved. Please hold. All right, I'm back. I'm doing my multitasking here. So, they had a misunderstanding, right? When Hussein was just like, if you care about somebody, if you care about something, then you're going to make the time for it. And Nephew Tommy makes the point, like, she's a firefighter. She can't make no time. Like, these are emergencies. And she begins to explain, like, when she is at the station, there are people literally running up to the door saying it's a fire, it's a fire. She can't be up on the phone. She got to be alert at all times, is her point. Hussein was like, yeah, I wasn't saying that your job really wasn't, that you... What did Hussein? Hussein was basically saying, like, I wasn't saying that you didn't need to be alert on your job or that you would have time for certain things or not have time for other things. What we were talking about in conversation was what jobs are deemed to be important and what jobs aren't. And I was just saying, like, it doesn't mean that my job isn't important, because either way, y'all, like she said, it's going to be continued to be misunderstood, because Deanna does believe her job is of the utmost importance. And I'm not here to say it is or isn't. I'm not a firefighter, but I do know that you probably would have to be on alert the majority of the time that you are on your shift. So I do understand that portion. I understood what Hussein was saying, like, you could still do better with your communication, even if you do have a very important job. Doesn't matter. These two aren't interested in each other, so I won't go on and on. I don't think Deanna has the best attitude personally, but I understand how she is about her job and her career. Eddie say, I like that though. I'm like, here come this one. He liked the fact that, she real strong in her opinions and she don't play around. And, she set that bottom line for how she gonna communicate as far as her job goes. She was just like, I might hear from you on Monday. We might not talk again until Wednesday. Like, that's fine with me. I'm not tripping about that. Eddie say he like it. He like that she put her stuff out there. So they just like, Eddie, you keep talking about what you like, what you don't like, what you into, why don't you go ahead and shoot then? You doing all the talking. He was like, all right. It's like he was warming up to the idea of possibly asking her on a date. He be waiting on a go ahead. Just do it. So he was like, I want us to get together. I want us to meet up. I want to take you out on a date next Thursday. And so she agrees to the date next Thursday. So, good child, I guess. There's a brief segment with Chenise. We could have kept it, where they're talking about her date. But we do find out that Chenise has been through a lot. And part of her nudity thing is the fact that she was abused sexually, emotionally, physically, and she developed a new love for herself. And that includes all of herself, including her body, which I think is a beautiful thing. I like people that don't mind being naked, because nudity is not my ministry, but I would like it to be. I would like to be more comfortable as a naked girl. But anyway, Chenise has overcome a lot. They show her flashback, baby. Y'all know that hug she gave Cisco after she got eliminated really sent me. She hugging on him and saying, I know this was hard and I'm okay. And I know that you have this going on. She good at speaking life into a person, which, given the trauma that she's experienced, that does make sense that she would see, like, if she sees a low moment in another person, it makes sense that she would speak life into them the way that she would have wanted somebody to do to her. That does make sense. But, Chenise, don't give. You give until as long as your cup not depleted, I guess you can give what you want to give, right? Cool. I was disturbed at the end of the show where they were talking about the matchups, and Frat was like, that's his girl, that's his woman. But they ain't been on no date. He was like, we been FaceTiming each other a lot, calling a lot, texting a lot. Why y'all ain't been on no dates? That's what I'm saying. Y'all be speaking all this life and doing all this kingship, and they ain't even took you nowhere. Anyways, he said he wasn't disturbed by the nudity date because she had already told him about it, so he knew what to expect. Tay said she was a little bit irritated by it because she didn't do no naked dates. And Cisco kept saying, well, that's what we were supposed to do. We were dating. This was part of the process. Yeah, but I was covered. I had on clothes at my dates, unlike you. And Cisco, you know you would have been mad if you found out that she had her titties out and somebody was writing their name on them on the date. Stop it. And lastly, y'all, what we all have wanted to know, we got Taye and Cisco. Is the love story still going on? Are y'all still happy? And Taye asked Tommy, you mean separately or you mean like together? He said, together. No, we are not together. After the show, they had several conversations. Taye had a lot of time to think. Taye sounded unsteady. She sounded nervous. Again, she sounded like she didn't want to be judged. But trust me, Taye, the people got your back on this one. Taye was just like, after several conversations, I had discovered that Cisco had, that's his name, right? Had quit some jobs, in the past because a modeling opportunity opened up. And so he would have a job and he would quit. He would have a job and he would quit. And okay, that's fine when it's just you. But I'm starting to ask myself now, like, if we're together and you're quitting these jobs because of something that may open up for modeling, does that mean that I'm holding down the fort? Like, what does that really mean? I really just don't feel comfortable with doing it. I don't feel comfortable putting myself in that position. I want what I want. And maybe this is when she started getting unsteady. He does check off a lot of the boxes. Otherwise, maybe I could have moved differently. Maybe I sabotaged it. I don't know. Time will tell. But, this is something that's really important to me. And, Tommy does. I feel like Tommy was kind of fence straddling with it. But if he checks off all these other boxes and but that's just how she feels. Now, there's a conversation going on backstage between the ladies and the guys. And somebody was just like, I don't know if it was Cam or if it was Eddie. Eddie was the most vocal about this topic. But they was just like, well, I'm saying, no, like, what you saying? Because you ain't got no job. You don't need to have love. Like, he check off all the boxes otherwise. And Kiara, I love that Kiara was just like, yeah, but when it's time to start having kids and stuff, he wants kids with her. He can't afford kids. And it was very blunt, just like that. And that's true. Children are expensive. You can't be jobless having children. You just can't. I mean, unless you're on some type of assistance, but then that comes with its own shared headache. So, other conversation that was going on, Eddie said, are you saying, like, if you ain't got no job, you don't deserve to be in a relationship, you don't deserve love, if you trying to build yourself up? And Deanna turned all the way around and was just like, no, if you are building yourself, you need to do that by yourself. You need to do that while you are single. Do not bring nobody else in on it. And Eddie said, yeah, but sometimes a relationship, like, it help you, it give you motivation. Deanna said, no, alone. That is the difference between men and women to me. I feel like women build better single, men build better in a relationship because for various reasons, like there's certain things a woman may take off your plate. There's certain things a woman may motivate you to do. You might have in-house cats, so you're not as stressed out about not getting sex. You're not locked in. You ain't got all that, orgasm locked up in you. And in other cases, you're not spending your money on taking women out on dates. You got like a steady, consistent person. Sometimes y'all date, sometimes you don't, but you ain't spending getting to know you money. So you got certain things that can help you, will put you in a position where you are better able to focus. You got to fall back, I always say that's why married men cheat the way they do. They got to fall back at home. So if you deny me out here, I still got something. Anyway, versus women, I always am able to do more single than I am in a relationship. In a relationship, I usually do focus a lot on my partner. And even a man that is really good to you does consume your energy. Even if he's not like a terrible man, he just consumes your energy. So you don't really got time to build up the way you want to build up. Now, I know there's going to be some, well, when my husband came in my life, my life got better. Good for you. All right. Great for you. You may be the exception. You are probably not, statistically, you are not the rule. Okay. I'm just talking about generally speaking. And in my personal lived experience, I do better when that man is not around. And so that's the difference between us. A man, honey, he could be struggling down in the gutter and he's still going to want a woman because he knows what that's going to do for him. There's going to be some perks there. Usually when I'm struggling, I do not want to be in a relationship because I can't give the relationship what it needs. But those are just the differences between the two, in my opinion. What do y'all think? Anyways, they not together no more. I don't feel like Taye was wrong in making the decision that she made. Cisco is over there without a shirt on, which lets me know that a lot of the decisions that he makes continue to be questionable. He says that Taye said something that rubbed him the wrong way when they were conversing, basically saying, I feel like you kind of just mooch or live off of women. And he said that is not true at all, because if it was true, I would be mooching and living off of you. Which, if she did say that, that comment is out of line if you don't have any proof, or there's nothing suggesting that he does that. So I think that was wrong of her to say. I would have apologized to him, but I also would have told him, like, I'm not. Is there a time where you can take a man where he is building? Yes, college. A few years after college. The closer you get to 30, the more you need to leave that alone. The more you need to leave it alone. Because especially once you get over 30, we start messing around with closer to 40, you cannot. You just can't. And that probably sounds effed up. It might sound like, oh, we all want love. We all want a lot of things. I want $1 million. I want $1 million. But that doesn't mean I get to go up into the bank and be like, y'all go ahead and give me the money, because right now I deserve it. I'm going to make it up to you. I'm going to make it up to you. I promise. You can't do that. All right? Even if you got stellar credit. You can't just do that. You have to... you usually want to find somebody that aligns to where you are. They don't have to be exactly where you are, but somewhere around there. And you still building up a modeling career at this age, baby, I applaud you. Go ahead, do your thing. But you may have to miss out on some things while you do that. And that's just how the cookie crumbles for everybody. Anyway, that was pretty much it. At the end of the reunion, they do talk about some of the connections that happened. I found it funny that Khalil is going to take Angie out, but he was so concerned about the other woman's age. Is Angie not 40? So what about you and them kids you trying to get off? But I don't know, child. People just be talking. But y'all let me know what y'all thought about the reunion. Like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see y'all for the next one in Detroit. Okay, ready to waste our time in Detroit. Happening soon. And y'all I'm going to say Detroit weird. I'm country. So when I say I try to say it right, but usually I end up saying Detroit. Like, I put an extra emphasis on it. But I'm going to try my best. How you say it? Detroit. Y'all have a good day.